So we've now filled out the donor consent form, and I need to show you what we're going to do with the sample of urine. So just going to put the form to one side for a moment. So we've taken the instant test, we've got a non-negative result for cocaine and cannabis, and we now need to send this sample off to the laboratory. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the pot, and we're going to decant the urine into the pot that we got with the kit. You could try and pour this into the two little vials, but it doesn't pour very well, whereas this one has a pourer, so it's much better to use this pot, so I like to do that. So we've done with that now for the time being, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our two collection vials, and on here we have name, time and date, and we put the donor's name in there, the time that we've taken the sample, and the date of the test, and we also do that on the other collection vial as well. We're now going to take the lid off the two vials. We'll decant the urine a half into each pot. There is a minimum fill line of 5 ml on the bottom of each of these pots, and as long as the urine goes at least up to that line in each of the vials, there'll be enough for the laboratory to test the urine. So we're going to decant this one as well. There's more than enough there, so put that to one side, and now put the lid on the vials. So we now have urine in two vials. The vials that have the donor's name on, the time and the date of the collection. We come back to the chain of custody form, and we take our tamper-proof evidence seals, one marked A and one marked B, so we simply peel each one off. These are a bit tricky if you're wearing gloves, so you have to just be a bit careful with these, because they will stick to the material of the gloves. We take the first pot here, and we have the letter B, and we just fold the tamper-proof evidence seal down the sides of the pot. We then take the second tamper-proof evidence seal, and we now repeat that with the second vial. This one's the letter A, and that goes over the top there, and we fold the tamper-proof evidence seal down there. So now we've got the urine in the pot with the signed and dated tamper-proof evidence seal over, the donor's name, time and collection time and date on each of the two vials. We now open up the transport pots, and we simply put one into each of the pots. It's really important here when we're doing this that neither of the two tamper-proof evidence seals are torn or ripped. If they are torn or ripped, when the laboratory receive these, they'll just inform you that they can't run the test because the chain of custody has been broken. So it's really important when we put these into the two collection pots that we don't rip or tear the tamper-proof evidence seals at all. So we now take two of the barcodes that are along the top of the form, and we simply affix one to each of the pots. That's that one there, and this one here. So we now have two pots with barcodes on, with the urine inside, and they're now ready to go off to the laboratory. We now come back to our transit bag, and the transit bag is in two parts. There's a large envelope at the back and a smaller envelope at the front. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to peel off the top copy of this form, and it tells you on the bottom here exactly what should happen with each copy. So the white copy is a laboratory copy, so we're going to peel that off, fold that up. I always like to make sure and double check the form to make sure it's all been signed and dated in the right places and all the details are on there. If you miss anything off at this point, the laboratory simply won't be able to run the test, so it's in your best interest just to double check. So the laboratory form goes in the back of the envelope, and in the front, the smaller pocket of the envelope is where we're going to put the two vials of urine. So they go in there. We now take off the seal at the top, and we fold that down and seal the whole thing down, and all this should be done in sight of the donor. We now take the whole bag, which has been sealed, and we place that inside the first class postage bag. And once again we take the seal off the top there, fold that over. That's now sealed up, and that's ready to go off to the laboratory, first class postage. The pink copy is the donor copy, and if the donor asks to have his own sample tested, he can apply to the laboratory to get either the A or B sample released to a laboratory of his choice, and all the details for the laboratory are on the bottom of the form there. So the donor has the pink copy and we give that to him. The blue copy is the collector's copy and the green copy is the employer's copy. So most of the time them two are probably going to stay together. What I like to do at this stage is take the initial consent form that we filled in when we done the first line test, and I like to staple those together so that they're all in one place. And that's how to take a chain of custody sample and send it off to the laboratory.